Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We are here to follow faithful to the tradition that started yesterday on the questioning and answering sessions for the different domains of destination 2. Today, in this session in particular, we will take questions on the increased autonomy in key strategic value chains for resilient industry. And more specifically, since this domain contains 3 different sessions, this is a session related to advanced materials. You can see on the slide the different topics that we will take questions today. And together with, of course, welcoming you all, I would like to tell you that we will kindly ask you more likely to put your questions in the Slido, referring specifically to the topic that you are interested and you have the question for. And then I will read the question and address the appropriate colleague of mine that they are assisting me today in this session in order to get an answer. Thank you very much, and we are waiting for your questions to be set on the Slido. Thank you. All right. So I read the question for everybody to be aware. So it's resilience, and it relates to, hold on a minute because I lost it. So it's the 0.8, the 0.8 topic, and refers only to substitution of chemicals, materials, products, or include also systems thinking approach from service and function need. Okay, so the 08 is my colleague Alexandra Maliska. Alexandra, please, I will appreciate your interference here, and if you have an answer for this question, please. The floor to you.
Thank you very much, Achilles. Indeed, definitely the topic does not is not limited to the substitution. It's really about life cycle approach and systems thinking. So definitely we are looking in a kind of approach of safe and sustainable by design community, not only for substitution.
Excellent.
I hope
Alexandra.
This clarifies.
Thank you very much. I believe if there is something more to ask, they will come back to that. The second question refers to topic 120 and states the nano, I believe it must be nanocoating, it's wrote nanocoating. The nanocoating should be exclusive in organic, or organic nanocoatings may also be considered. My dear George, the floor is to you. So if you have an answer to that, will be welcome. Thank you. George, we appreciate your picture, but would like to hear, yes.
Sorry, yes. This topic addresses mainly inorganic coatings, not organic coatings. So if that that explains it, yeah.
Excellent. The question number 3 is going to the Resilience 0112. I think this should be with, again, George, and it states it is possible to include metallic coatings to molds and or plastic parts, for example, automotive industry.
Yes, it does. It covers any application whereby where metallic coatings are necessary. The aim is to remove any harmful substances. It's again the same kind of let's say approach on the safe and sustainable by design concept that we have introduced in Horizon Europe.
Excellent. Thank you very much, George. The 5th question refers to the topic 127. Javier, it is for you, and I stated it is an acceleration program for existing startups or a venture building for innovation into startups / spin-offs. Javier, the floor is yours. Check if you are not muted.
I think there has been a confusion because topic 27 is not me. I am taking care of 20, 25 and 26.
You are right, because 27 topic is not part of our list in the material. So I think the question is not addressing the session we are talking about. The 27 is not. So I'm sorry, Javier, for that. Let's go to the next question. We don't have a next question. Is the next question. The next question refers to Resilience 0102. I think that also it's out of our domain, because this 0102, let me check my list. 0102. I really do not see that. It's neither, no, I don't see the 0102, not even to the destination 2. So I think must be something wrong. In any case, I am sorry about that. So this is not in the list. Maybe the one who asked this question can maybe check again which precisely topic they are mentioning, because the one that is mentioned, it does not refer to the list of topics that we have to discuss today. We missed, I think, a question which is the Q4. This is, yes, the Q4 we mentioned this question. It was on referring to the topic 27. And this topic also does not appear in our list of topics to be discussed in this particular session. So please try to join the session where this topic is tackled. Let me go to see further. I see here that my colleague Nicholas Teligianakis could maybe give it a try for this question 4 on topic 27. Please, Nicholas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Achillea. Indeed, topic 27 was covered by an earlier session. What we could suggest is that you look at that earlier version, because there were some questions and answers on 27, the innovation radar, on which I'm not an expert, but basically to try to answer part of the question, it is indeed in effect an accelerate is about venture building. It is outlined in the scope of the project. It is a support topic. But please also listen the earlier session where we covered the SME, the business part, if you like, of Destination 2, where we covered topics like the innovation radar and others. You may find that useful, because there were some answers from the expert on that topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. You saved us a little bit on that, so I must be happy the person who asked the question. Now, the question number 7, it's Resilience 0101. So I believe that comes back to my colleague George. Plastics would be of interest in this topic? George?
Yes. It depends what you mean by plastics, because we're talking about polymer composites, and there are two types, thermosetting and thermoplastic composites. This topic relates mainly to the thermosetting composites, which are the most difficult to recycle. Thermoplastics in general are relatively easy to recycle. So by plastics, we mean, yes, polymer composites, and we actually mean thermosetting polymer composites or structural composites, as they are well known.
Okay, thank you very much, George. Although composites are composites and plastics are plastics, so should be a distinction. So the next question, the question 10, is also for you, George. So what is the definition of complex composite materials? Can tires be considered by the call?
Yeah, this is again, this relates to the previous question on what you define as a composite. In essence, the topic looks at composite materials that currently are very difficult to recycle. We understand that tires are relatively difficult material to recycle, and in that sense, even though it doesn't fall within the structural composites, it would still be considered as a composite material. And by complex composite, we mean all sorts of materials that are made out of more than 2 or 3 different materials, like, for example, sandwich panels that can be either honeycomb or a foam core or wood core or whatever. So the answer is yes, we would consider tires.
Thank you very much, George. The next question refers to the topic 0110. I believe this would be for my colleague Christina to answer, and I stated, is there any specific sector targeted by the market products? Could transport be considered as added value products? Christina, the floor is yours, if
Thank you,
it's possible to answer.
We haven't mentioned any specific sectors, but I guess this can go as wide as possible, so we could include also the transport. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Christina. The next one goes to Alexandra. I believe this is 0.108. Is the CSA membership should include E27 partners or should include also third countries? And in this case, how could them be financed?
Thank you, Achilles.
Alexandra, to you.
Thank you, Achilles. In general, the proposal states very clearly that the topic is open for international cooperation, where the EU has reciprocal benefits, which means, of course, there should never be whether or not a third country should be involved, but rather what is the added value of the country and a participant from a specific country for the specific proposal. And of course, for that reason, the horizontal rules of funding apply. So if it's not non-associated country, this is dealt by horizontal rules of funding, which is of course explained in the work program. But on this aspect, I may ask maybe Nicholas to if he feels like to explore a bit more, explain a bit more.
Okay, good. So I think if Nicholas has nothing more to add, then I can move to the next question. So the question 12, and this concerns the topic 112. So this is back to you, George. how many projects will be accepted. Yeah, that depends on the budget of the.
That depends. Yeah, that depends on the budget. That depends on the available budget for the topic, and I think this is mentioned in the work program. But we expect maybe 3 or 4 projects roughly to be funded under this topic.
Is this the topic 12, George? Because I have the list of budgets per topic. This was the 0112, I presume, no?
12.
Is that the 12? So that's around 90
12.
millions.
Yeah,
so
4 projects.
Yes, I mean, it depends on the average, I believe, budget per proposal. But if we take an average budget of 6 millions, then it could be something like 3. I mean, but this is really speculative because we don't know in advance, and there is no particular limit on the budget.
Yeah, but so, we would say, okay, it could be between 4 or 5. It depends on what the individual budgets of every project that is submitted is. It's speculative at the moment. We can't give you a concrete answer, but maybe 4, maybe 5.
Excellent. Thank you very much, George. The next one comes to Lucia, and this concerns the topic 114. And it says distillation is included in the title of the call. Is the topic limited to these types or other membrane types allowed? Lucia.
Thank you, Achilles. I'm afraid this topic is from 2022. Again, is the one called membranes for gas separations, membrane distillation, and it doesn't concern the
it says the topic 14, eh? The
yes.
Topic 14 is 21, so is it maybe wrongly put?
There is another 22. One called 22, resiliency 114.
Yes, it's 22. Yeah, you are right, absolutely. It's my mistake.
So it's for next year and it's not part of this session.
No problem. We will be there next year to take the question then.
Yes, indeed.
The next question relates the topic 120. And that 120 is George again. George, you have a kind of monologue, it seems to me today. Should we use different processes even if some are limited to just a few substrates? For example, copper-enriched nanofilms based on heat thermal treatment, chemical attack plus chemical attack.
Yeah, well, it all depends on the applications and on the actual impact. The topic looks at as wide applications as possible. Therefore, if the impact to general health is limited or very small, there would be a problem with this. We're not. It depends on the merit again of the proposal. It's you can certainly submit a proposal on this. It's not excluded. However, at the evaluation stage, the expert evaluators will need to assess the wider impact of the technology used, the applications, the economic aspects, etc.
Thank you very much, George. To not just remind to everybody that the proposal should also image the topic texts basically. So when it is not mentioned in the topic text, it goes like you said. So resilience 0108 is the permanent structure to be created should be a legal entity, or this is not necessary? Alexandra.
This is, of course, only one of the options. Thank you. This is, of course, only one of the options. What the proposal needs to show is the sufficient evidence that after funding of the call, the network continues to exist. So there needs to be mechanism in place presented in a convincing way that after funding stops, the network created will continue its work. As mentioned in the call, it is not necessary to have a legal entity, but you need to provide convincing arguments that the network is a permanent structure.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. Very clear. Next one comes, we are already on question 16, so I think this is good. We have again the topic 120. Do not want to say who, but let's call George. So a coating based on inorganic nanoparticles is in an organic matrix would be in scope in this topic. George, the floor is yours.
Right. Yes, again, it's rather specific, but yes, it would be. And I think it is, there's a, yeah, the answer is yes, it would be in scope, the short answer for this. Okay.
Thank you, George. Apparently, we don't have any more questions yet. We can maybe wait a little bit. Have in mind that we have plenty of time for questions foreseen. So please feel free to ask your questions as far as they reflect the topics on the advanced materials on destination 2, as it has been mentioned at the beginning of the session. Seems to me that the topics were very clear. So people should be happy. Less questions means, oh, let's check back question 18. Yes, that's again for George. So there is a question maybe we missed. This is, it is possible to include bio-based organic coatings with inorganic antimicrobial filters. George, on topic 20.
Yes, it could be. Yes, we could accept that. It is included. Yeah. It again. It is the whole thing will depend on the merit and the applications and the impact of these approaches. Okay.
Good. The next one is again on the same topic, George. Is enough to print the coatings in the substrates, or it is necessary to go further to print them in high traffic objects?
Yeah, okay. Of course, all projects will have to include a demonstrator element. Therefore, the proposers will have to show that the topics are, the coatings are effective for the application that they are envisaged to. Of course, this might not be, let's say, a proper metro train, or for handles or whatever, but they would have to demonstrate that there is wear resistance and durability of those coatings for the applications that the proposers envisage. So although you have to demonstrate that you can't print it, let's say, on a handle, or on a door handle, or on a frame, a door or whatever, but it doesn't have to necessarily be on a existing train, let's say, in your city. You could, let's say, have a demonstrator structure where you show that you've done all your wear tests and all your experiments to show that they are durable and effective.
Good. Okay. You have 2 more questions on the same topic. It seems that it raises a lot of questions. If it refers only to inorganic coatings, or it can be hybrid?
Yes, it can be a hybrid.
Hybrid, sorry, thanks for the correction.
Yes, it can be a hybrid, yeah.
All right. And the next one comes also, a coating based on inorganic nanoparticles in an organic matrix, would be in scope in this topic?
I think we answered this one, and the answer is
okay.
Yes.
So, all right. It's good to repeat from time to time. So no problem. Good. So, right. There is one more I see here, and it reflects to the topic 111. And I think what comes without asking, George, the call refers to include regulators as actors. Do we need to include them as partner, or is having experience with regulation sufficient?
You have to demonstrate how you're going to do this. It will be better if they are partners. However, if that is not possible, because we understand that in some cases it might not be, you have to demonstrate a route and to demonstrate in your proposal how you will approach these organizations and how you are going to bring them on board, what kind of let's say approach you're going to take to involve them in the project.
Thank you, George. Thank you. The next one refers to the 0114. And to my list, the 0114 is for Lucia. And it claims, while excluding industrial competitors from countries where the IPR's safeguarding is not guaranteed, and then are they totally excluded? Want to repeat the question?
I was muted. It's for this question on...
it's on topic 14.
Yes, indeed.
It says, while excluding industrial competitors from countries where the IPR's safeguarding is not guaranteed, are they totally excluded?
Well, as this is indeed...
I don't understand.
Indeed, this is referred to in the report on the protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights in third countries, which was released in 2021. Then, therefore, this has to be considered.
They mention it.
Is this mentioned in the topic text, and it has to be considered while building the consortium indeed. For further information, I would ask Nicolas if he's available to complete the answer. Perhaps he's not anymore.
Nicolas, are you there?
I can help on this if necessary.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ulrich.
Ulrich, thank you.
It is not a formal exclusion criterion. The condition that we have set here can be taken up by the expert evaluators, but it is not a formal exclusion criterion. Thank you.
Excellent. There is a follow-up question also referring to 0101, I mean the one of George. So, and the question states that the response provided just now suggests that tires fit in the 0101, yet the 0104 specifically requests EOL tires So where does it best belong? So the 0104.
Yeah.
This
okay.
is on climate
yes,
neutral.
That's right. I forgot that 04 specifically mentions end of life for tires. Therefore, I would say it would be best suited for the 04. A topic on tires would be better suited on 4. Okay.
Yeah. Certainly not for applying to both.
Yeah.
Okay. Then is the next question refers to 0111. And this is, I believe, it's Christina. Then what it means with development of overarching best practices for safe and sustainable by design plastics. Christina?
That one is not with me, Achilles.
Ah, is it not 11? Ah, it says George the 11. I'm sorry, George. Just, I wanted to skip it once to make you relax a little bit. Apparently, George, is for you the question. So
okay.
What it means with development of overarching best practices for safe and sustainable by design plastics?
It's more or less guidelines that would gather the products that have been investigated in the current, let's say, proposal or the project when it's developed, but also they should look into guidelines for future plastics, and that's what it is, the overarching principles, methodologies, guidelines, whatever you want to call them. Okay.
Good, thank you very much. The next one refers to Alexandra. The SSBD materials community should be in the wide final product sense, whether they are materials or chemicals. It's a question.
But this is a tricky one. But with it all comes to the definition how we understand chemical, material, and product, which is quite challenging. But indeed, please always refer to as I mentioned, this is really establishing community of expert in a life, taking into consideration a life cycle approach. Materials are materials. Of course, sometimes they can be used as a final products. Sometimes substances can be understood as materials, but as such, the focus of this call is on a material. But it's not an exclusion criteria, that if you have a representative who is really representing the final product. So I cannot give you like a very strict answer. As I mentioned, life cycle approach and materials, depending on the definition, can be sometimes understood or put as a kind of product, but material is material, and focus on the materials per se is the focus of the call.
Yeah, I think it's a clear distinction between materials and chemicals. So material scientists know that better. Question number 25, resilience 0110. Are any kind of plastics targeted? Can it be styrenics? George, sorry about that.
No, is this for me?
I think
this one is for me.
The 10, who's is 10? I'm getting confused. I have permanently George. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, Christina, thank you very much.
So indeed, we are targeting the bulk of plastics, so the styrenics can be included as well. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The next question refers to 117. And 117, now I'm going to be correct. George, the floor is yours. Is hydrogen storage under cryogenic conditions, for example, 75 Kelvin, considered in the topic?
No, it is not. The topic addresses two types of storage: relatively low pressure storage at room temperature in a pressure vessel, or chemical storage, i.e. binding with ammonia or maybe any other molecule. So no, cryogenic is not included.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The next again is for you, George, but for a different topic. That's the topic 20. Nanocoatings Nanocomposite should include bio-based materials, or this is just an option? To repeat?
I think this was addressed earlier on the
maybe
types
some
of
similar,
matrices.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, and type of matrix, which could be a bio-based matrix, or it could be a hybrid. So yes.
But the answer to this question is yes?
It could be yes. It could be an option, yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now the Resilience 0108, coming back to Alexandra. The materials community should be in the wide products or articles sense. For example, chemicals like surfactants are mentioned.
Yes, they are. And as the call states, in general, it's about the community per se that will develop a common understanding of safe and sustainable by design applied to materials, both products and processes, and it states. And indeed, some of the examples are included. As mentioned before, the definitions sometimes are not that straightforward, but indeed the focus is on materials. I don't know whether this is satisfying, but it's yet again, it's both products and processes. I don't know, maybe my colleague Javier would like to add something, as I think he's an expert on definition at this point.
Javier, do you have something to add?
No, actually, Alexandra stated well. The topic is on the community, but it is true that when you think of materials, what is the question actually again? They can see it more as a product or an article. Yeah, okay, but I mean, this is part of the concept and the definition. This does not block you for applying for this proposal or not, as soon as you are fulfilling the whole purpose of the CSA on creating community. So.
Okay. Thank you very much, Javier, for your interference. Next question refers to the topic 112. So the 112, no, and this I'm not going to miss, is again George. Is the development of engineered ceramic coatings in the scope of this topic? George, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Okay, the answer to this is no. We're talking about metallic coatings.
Excellent.
So, no.
0101. Who has this? I don't remember. George,
I do.
maybe.
Yeah,
Can a solution proposed with a higher TRL starting point and end point be proposed to solve the growing issue of composites?
Yes, it can. I don't see why it shouldn't. If the technology is innovative and of a good level of maturity and can bring an outcome, as we say, or a good economic and environmental outcome in the problem with composites recycling, then yes, of course it is.
Thank you very much, George. Let's go to the next question. It concerns again, stay there, George, please, because that's 1-1. Again, is 3 points, says reuse of secondary raw materials. So this is a phrase taken from the topic. Could you please clarify the meaning of secondary raw materials?
Right, it's The secondary raw material is actually what comes out of the recycling process. So it could be, let's say, if we take resin and fibers in a just a standard and glass reinforced plastic, then would you be able to recover the resin? Would you be able to recover the fibers, and how can you reuse them? These are the secondary raw materials. Okay.
So secondary raw materials are the recuperated.
Yes, they recycle it. They recycle it.
Exactly. Yeah. Clear. Very good. So next question is the question 32, just for reference, and it refers again to topic 0101 about recycling of composite materials. Could you clarify if recycling of wood composites is eligible? How we deal with similar issues?
Okay, that it depends what you mean by wood composites in this sense. Does it mean cellulose fibers, or it's not really clear. Maybe if they could give us some example of what they mean with wood composites, or could it be like chipboards and things like that? I really don't know. So I'm not clear what it means, but I would say
wood based, no?
Well, if by wood they mean wood-based fibers like cellulosic fibers in a composite, then yes, it is. But if they mean something else, which I'm not sure of, I can't give an answer like that.
Thank you. So just referring to 32 on resilience 001 about wood composites, maybe he can be more clear and or clarify this issue in order to get a more Sorry, I have to interrupt because I missed. Do you hear me? Because I had an interruption on my internet. Okay, thank you very much. I got lost the screen. So innovative dismantling. So I repeat the question for 0101. It is required to propose innovative dismantling and sorting systems. If material is just crushed, would it be inappropriate? I think it was this, or it was the other one. No, that's this one. Yeah. Sorry to check, but the computer makes sometimes funny tricks. Thank you.
Yes. Crushed or grinding, as it's called, is currently used, where old composites are just ground up and used as fillers in other materials. Well, this is an already existing approach, which is not, let's say, that good. We're looking at another innovative solution, much more innovative solution than that. So no, it's not be appropriate. It will not be appropriate.
Thank you very much, George. I'm sorry, the next one most probably addresses you too. It's the 120 topic. Do you expect smart manufacturing from this topic?
I think this is the coatings, the antimicrobial coatings.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yes. The 2020, it is on, yes, antimicrobial, yes, antiviral, antifungal.
Yeah. Okay. No, what we're looking at is the actual coating, its adhesion, durability, and effectiveness as an antiviral, antibacterial. If a proposer has a smart manufacturing solution for this, then that would be a plus on the proposal, but it's not really expected in the topic. The topic looks at the coating itself, the development of the coating itself.
Good. The next one also is referring to the same topic, George. The antimicrobial solutions should be bio-based or This is just an option.
It's just an option.
Okay. And the next one is again on the 2120. So do we need to print the coatings just in the different substrates, or do we have to go further to high traffic objects?
Okay, that question was put before. The answer is you have to have produce a demonstrator of your technology that you develop. The demonstrator could be, I don't know, a doorway, handles, railings, or whatever. It might not be possible to do that in a public space, but if you make a demonstrator structure, like let's say a handle, the frame of a door or whatever, you have to have a testing regime to demonstrate its effectiveness and durability, long-term effectiveness and durability. Okay.
Thank you, George. Now you can relax because the next question goes to Lucia. Reflect to the topic 14. This means to include a partner from Turkey, which appears in the SWD 2021-97 as priority 2. Should it be justified or accompanied with additional documentation?
Yes, for this specific question on international cooperation, I thank Nicolas for support on clarifying.
Thank you, Lucia. Indeed. So the first part of the answer is the one that George already gave. So this is not an eligibility criterion. It is not a strict exclusion. Now, Turkey is a candidate associated country, and therefore it is eligible to participate. What we ask proposers to do for those topics where there is a reference to IPR protection and the report from DG Trade is to look at the consequences of including third country partners and to assess that. So yes, we expect some sort of assessment about the IPR protection as part of the business case and exploitation strategy that you have in any case to include with the proposal. But certainly Turkey is eligible for all those topics, being a candidate associated country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. Thank you. The next one also, Lucia, please stay there. It's again the 14. It envisages hydrogen production, or is it excluded?
Topic does not exclude hydrogen production. Therefore, the most important is that the proposal addresses as much as possible the aspects in the scope of the topic and the expected outcomes, but hydrogen production is not excluded.
Excellent, thank you very much. The next one is again for you, Lucia. Are there any preferred application in which the new development should be applied? Schematical production and petrochemical sectors are both included?
Again, here the proposal should align as much as possible to the aspects of the scope and expected outcomes on the development of the targeted technologies and materials. The topic text refers in a wider sense to chemical production, and it does not exclude petrochemical production. Therefore, both chemical and petrochemical would be in scope.
Thank you very much, Lucia.
Thank you.
Okay. I have one more question here. So just referring again back to George. So George, break is over. So that is ensuring circularity of composite materials. Can you give a definition of composite materials. It is only polymer versus metal, ceramic, and so on. Yes, composite is artificial materials.
Yes, right. For this particular topic, we mainly are looking at polymer composites. Now, again, you could have a sandwich construction with a metal honeycomb in it. So if that is the case, then it is a hybrid. It's both metal and polymer composite because the skins of the sandwich panel are polymer. But I would say if you're talking about metallic foams with metallic skins or various other ceramic composites, then no, it's mainly polymers.
Thank you, George. The topic 0104. The 0104, it is not in our topics discussed in this session. It refers more to graphene, so I believe that this question should be addressed in another session, which is most probably finished, so I don't know, this is missed. But I want to ask the organizer, and also Ulrich, is it possible to take the question that it's not referring to our session and try to reply maybe by email or by a later reply? Or not? It's for, I see an answer that's for next year, but it's 21. So it's maybe 22 then. That's 41, this 21. Okay. So the question 41, it relates to graphene. And this is not in our session. I don't know if we can reply on that. The question 42, I believe now, it's also for the next year. It's a topic that we'll discuss next year. And for the moment, we do not have any more questions, so it's still time. Just to inform if there are any questions, any clarifications to the answers given, and with another question, please feel free to put your question in Slido. Otherwise, if we do not have questions within the next, let's say, couple of minutes, then I will have to thank you all and close the session. This is good. So let me propose something. Then we can have a break, let's say, of 10 to 15 minutes. So you can grab a coffee or whatever and stand up a little bit. Then we can come back in, it's now 3:25. Can come back on, if you all agree, we can come back to 15:40. If it is okay for you or you would like earlier, I don't know, please let me know. I would propose to come back on 15:40. So after 15 minutes, we have a break and then we come back to see if there are any more questions from the audience, okay? Good, thank you very much. And I'll see you in 15 minutes, 14 exactly. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So gladly, I see that you have thought about new questions. So we are ready and refreshed with a good coffee to continue. But I have to ask. I want to apologize because I missed one question for the one who answered it, who put it. So I will come back a little bit to that before I go to the new ones. And it's the question related to the topic 114. I think it's for my colleague Lucia, and it states the use of non-thermal plasma seems to be encouraged to be included, but also other technologies are applicable. And this is a question.
Thank you, Achilles, for the question.
You're welcome, Lucia.
This technology is mentioned in the topic text as an example of alternative energy resources. Is especially mentioned as an example. That means that it's not specifically encouraged as main technology to be included in the proposal. Other alternative energy sources are, of course, welcome. And I must remind that it is important to cover the expected outcomes and to be sure that the proposal aligns with the targeted scope. So the development of electrically heated catalytic reactors using renewable energy sources or alternative energy sources, aiming at a low reduction of CO2 emissions and including process intensification. So then non-thermal plasma is one of the options, but is not the only option.
Thank you very much, Lucia. It was very clear. The next question refers to again to the 0101 on composites. And it states, could you please precise or clarify if the recycling of wood composite materials are included in the call? Now we have again on wood composites, George.
Yes, thank you, Achilles. Right. Although the essence of the topic 101 is not for wood composite materials, it cannot be excluded. That's assuming that with wood composite materials, you mean plastic wood composites where fibers of wood or pieces of wood are joined together in a polymer matrix. So yeah, although it's not within the essence, it is not really excluded.
Okay, thank you very much, George. The next one again refers to your topic, George. Apparently is very famous. Is recycling referred to composites with thermosetting matrix, thermoplastic matrix, or both?
It's mainly thermosetting matrices. Thermoplastic composites are a bit more advanced in the sense that there are technologies out there that have been developed for their recycling. So the challenge has always been thermosetting resins.
Okay. So thank you very much, George. Now you can relax for the next one. That is 0108. I believe it is with Alexandra. So is this topic intended to continue the NSC cluster?
Very shortly and briefly, no. The topic is to establish safe and sustainable by design community. as an example of already ongoing active initiative, it is mentioned nano-safety cluster. What is relevant, and I would like to stress, this call goes beyond nanomaterials. We are talking about different materials, not only nano, as there's already a lot of significant knowledge gathered by the community. The participation of this community is very welcome, and this is just an example of a cluster that is very active, also in relevance to safe and sustainable by design, but by no means it is limited to nanomaterials.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. The next question is a bit combining the 1.1 topic, then the 1.4 that is mentioned in a previous case, and it says 1.1.104. There are the two topics. One is belonging to our session, the other not. Cooperation with 1.10 is not mentioned in the call text. Should we set up our own product acceptance activities, or can we include a cooperating task? George, since it is mentioning 1.1, it's okay, but then the 1.10, it is with Christina.
Yeah. Collaboration, yeah, although it's not mentioned in the topic text, therefore it cannot be an absolute requirement. But if collaborative activities can take place between projects in two different topics, that would be welcome. So but within the project, as the text states that product acceptance activities should take place, they should take place within your topic. But you could always, let's say, enrich these activities by collaboration with other partners, with other entities. Okay.
And I believe the other proposals from other topics, because they mentioned the topic of Christina. I think we will boost clustering and cooperation with other.
I'm saying it would be beneficial if they do so. They have to develop their own activities, but it would be beneficial if they can collaborate with other topics.
Thank you very much, George. So the next one also again refers to something which is close to you, George, the 1.12. They have to be two novel coating materials for the same application?
I'm not really sure I understand that. What do they mean by two novel coating materials?
I don't know. Maybe we can ask the person who asked the question to clarify.
Maybe to clarify a bit. If they mean that they could develop two different coatings for the same application, as long as they demonstrate their safety, sustainability, recyclability, all the other aspects that the topic suggests, then I think it's okay. Yes, but I will need more clarification on this. What exactly is meant?
Okay, so we ask the person who from the audience who asked this question, please, if the answer of my colleague was not satisfying, and we will ask you maybe to clarify a little bit more about this issue of two novel coating materials. The next question now goes to again the topic 12. And it refers to alternatives to hard chromium coatings, and PGM coatings must be pure metallic or can be metal nitrides, oxides, and or carbides.
Right. This is for me again. Right. We do talk about metallic, but they don't have to be pure metallic. Therefore, metal nitrides or oxides are acceptable in this sense. And again, it all hinges on the safe and sustainable approach for this solution. I would say yes, nitrides, oxides. Carbides, I don't think is envisaged in this, but metal nitrides certainly are.
And metal oxides most probably too, no?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much, George. Stay there, George, because it comes a new one too, also to the same topic on coatings, innovative strategies for improving recovery recyclability, implying new recycling implementation, or just considerations within the SNSBD concept?
Okay. I would say both in this sense, because once you develop a new coating, then this has to be accompanied by your strategies for recovery recyclability. So if that requires a new recycling implementation, then this has to be laid out during the project, through the development of the project, or the approach should be specified or described rather in the proposal. All that will be within the broader context of the safe and sustainable by design concept. So I hope this answered the question.
Yes, thank you very much, George. The next one refers to the topic 114 for Lucia. Process identified intensification could be achieved by other techniques. It's a question. Not volume reduction, but increased processing speed or augmented conversion yield.
Thank you, Achilles. Well, indeed, the topic refers to process intensification with regards to the reduction of the reactor size of the reactor. Mm-hmm. The topic focuses or targets development of a new generation of catalytic reactors. That is why the emphasis is given to the reactor itself. With that, as it is part of the expected outcomes, and this should be substantiated against relevant metrics. Therefore, the closer the proposal is to those, the better, the easier will be to have a positive evaluation, but it will depend on how the proposal demonstrates the relevance of, if it is not the reduction of the reactor design, of other alternatives, how the proposal manages to demonstrate the relevance of those alternative process intensification routes. Therefore, indeed, the topic targets the optimized design of the reactor and catalytic materials for optimized energy efficiency, yield, and purity of the product, but that should also take into account up and downstream processes. Therefore, process intensification in a wider sense can be, let's say, highlighted, but I advise to keep in mind the expected outcomes of the topic the way they are presented in the text.
Thank you very much, Lucia. Thank you. Now come back to topic 12. 112 is mandatory the development of metallic coatings, or could they be ceramic coatings with metallic particles? No other metallic elements added? It's a question.
Okay, this is for me again.
Yes, the number 12 is for you, George.
Right.
You have a lot of work to do today, yeah?
Okay. The topic does indeed talk about metallic coatings, and I'll give an example again, and please do not misunderstand. It's just an example. We're not talking specifics here, but we say, for example, the replacement of chromium because of its harmful effects. Therefore, if a coating can have the same kind of performance, whether that is in terms of, let's say, wear or corrosion resistance or whatever else, it has the same performance, then it would be acceptable. So in that sense, one could say, although we're not talking about, for example, purely ceramic coatings, we would accept, coatings with metallic particles or other metallic elements are added, as long as the application they replace, as long as they replace an application where harmful coatings have been used in the past. Again, it's within the safe and sustainable concept, i.e. whatever is proposed, you have to demonstrate that it's safe, it's not, it has the same, the results in the same performance for a component as the older coating, but also it is easily recyclable, it's safe, non-toxic, etc. So yeah, that's what I have to say with this.
Good. It seems there is one more on that, but I believe that, George, you have answered already, but I mention it for the sake of mentioning it, since it is a new question. It says, could include, so the topic of course 112, could include metal oxide coatings. Yes. I believe you have mentioned it already.
Yeah.
So it can?
Yes, it can, yes.
Perfect. Good. Okay. There is one more to come. This relates to the topic 120. I think 120 is, I thought it was Javier to wake him up a little bit, but it's still George. 120, will surface texturation potentially combined with coatings will also be considered, or only pure coatings must be developed? This is referring to the topic 120. So we have two coating topics, yeah?
Yeah, that's the antiviral
yes, exactly.
coating. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look, the technology of surface texturation is something that we're aware has been happening recently, and there have been some quite interesting applications out there, some developments on this. So we didn't want to repeat what is actually been going on. However, if it is combined with a new coating, then it could be accepted. So it's not strictly coating, but not simply surface texturation. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So it has to be combined.
Combined, yes.
Yeah, with the coating. Good, excellent. Thank you very much. Apparently, I see my kind messages that there are no more questions in the Slido. So before we close the session of questioning and answers for this domain of Destination 2, I want to again ask you kindly if there is any more questions. We are still there. If there are no questions, then we will have to proceed with the closing of the session. Okay, guys. So I believe we exhausted practically all the questions. Before I close, I have to say that I want to thank you all for participating actively, because we had nearly 60 questions for an audience of nearly the same number. So this is good. I believe and I hope that our answers were satisfying to you. If there is still unclear things, there is always a communication through email. So with this, I want to thank also very much the organizing colleagues for this session, which they don't show, but they do a lot of work in the background. I want to thank all and each one of my colleagues who assisted and helped to treat the questions in the most appropriate way. And my colleague Ulrich Schmidt, who was also in the background, and he had to collect the questions from Slido and pass them to me. So thanking you all. I wish you a good continuation of the week. Good luck to all the people who will be applying for proposals in the next call, which is the deadline 23rd of September coming. And with this, I wish you a pleasant evening. Thank you very much and goodbye.